Hey everybody, this is Debbie Ray, owner of TotalGermanShepherd.com, and today I'd like to take a couple minutes to discuss with you how to choose a German Shepherd puppy. If you think about it and you take a lot of time to plan and you do your research, choosing a German Shepherd puppy doesn't really have to be all that hard. What you need to do first, so let's go step by step on some things you really need to take into account before you bring the puppy home. First of all, you need to plan ahead. So you need to make sure that you do your research about the dog breed, make sure that it's appropriate for you and your family, make sure that you can, really afford the puppy in the first place, that you can afford to, buy food, pay for vet bills and all that sort of stuff, that you have a place you can keep the puppy, wherever you're living or renting or whatever. Do they allow dogs? And there's just a lot of information, so you really need to plan ahead first. Next, you need to evaluate your needs. Is this really what you need? Or do you work all the time? Are you gone a lot? Do you travel quite a bit? Or are you someone who's at home a good bit throughout the day? That sort of thing. Do you have kids? You need to really think a lot about what your needs are and how you can really evaluate whatever it is that is in your life before you bring that puppy home. You need to make sure you can give it the best home possible. Next, you need to puppy proof before you bring your puppy home. You need to make sure that you get up any kind of, toxic chemicals or just, cleaning supplies or anything like that. Make sure you put those in a place where the puppy can't get to them. If you have any kind of old, if you have shoes or clothing or socks or toys or anything like that laying around, if you don't want the puppy to get hold of it, put it up. If you've got any kind of old rugs, if you've got cables from the TV or satellite dish or just any kind of electronics or whatever, if you've got any kind of cords laying around, you need to make sure you cover those up. Make sure that cabinet doors are closed. There's just a lot of things you really need to think about, because if you think anything from knees down, it's going to be where the puppy is really going to find. So you need to make sure that you put all that stuff up and puppy-proof your house before you bring that puppy home. Now, one of the next things you want to think about is, where's the best place to find a puppy? Well, before we go into that, let me tell you first the best place not to get a puppy is at a pet store. You have no idea where the puppy came from. You can't see any of the siblings, any of the litter mates the puppy has. You can't see its parents, and you have no idea the conditions that it came from. So just best advice, never buy a puppy from a pet store. The first place you should check when you're looking for a puppy, go to your local humane society. If you've got an animal shelter in your area, anything like that, go there and check, because you'll be surprised how many people get a puppy or dog and don't really think things through, and suddenly they can't keep it for some reason. Maybe there's been death in the family, or they're moving, or the place where they're living at won't let them keep the dog, or whatever. You just never know. Maybe it's more worth than they thought it would be in the first place, or there's just a lot of different reasons people turn dogs into the Humane Society. So check there, and you probably find you a really good friend. The next place you want to check, and I would highly recommend this, is going to a German Shepherd dog rescue. And the people at these places, they typically foster the dogs out through other homes. They do health checks on them, any kind of temperament screenings. They make sure that the dog is healthy, and they can provide you a lot of information about the dog's background, or at least up until when they received it. And they can just really help you out with your needs. Personally, if you don't have, if they don't have what you're looking for at the time, just discuss it with them, and maybe something will come up. But if I were you, I would definitely check into this. This is a really good solution. And last but not least, the best place I would think to check, if these other two didn't work out for you, would definitely be a reputable breeder. And what I mean by reputable, someone who's just not in it for the money. You want to find somebody who really wants to find a good home for their dogs, someone who's interested in just having the best puppies and dogs that they can, who is interested in furthering the breed as far as making it better, not just in it just to make a few quick bucks and get out or whatever. If someone is trying to offer you a deal or something like that, if they have puppies all the time, or if their conditions are just filthy or whatever, just back out. You don't want to deal with them, but you want to find someone who's reputable. What should you look for in a breeder? Well, I just told you a couple of things, but here are a few more. First, you want to do your research. I would go talk to the breeder. Get them to give you some references. Provide information from past people that have bought puppies from them. Contact them. Ask them questions about the breeder. Find out more information about them, and then that'll really supply you with a lot of details as to what you can expect if you were to buy a puppy from this person. And a little bit more information about that. Once you get these references, make sure you really do follow through and check them out. If you don't do that, if you just ask them questions and you don't get the references and then you don't follow through and check them out, you still don't have a lot of information. So make sure you ask for those, follow through, check them out. Make sure that the breeder is someone who's just not in it for the money, that they're not a person that has, puppies all the time, that they're not selling them for super, super cheap, or they're not trying to give you a deal or whatever. Not a place that has really filthy conditions, things like that. So you'll know. You kind of get a feel for it. If someone doesn't act in your eyes, if they act a little strange or they act a little flaky, back out. Find somebody else. You'll be glad you did in the long run. What should you expect to get from the breeder when you get your puppy? Well, first and foremost, you want those registration papers if you're going through a breeder. So you want to make sure you get those. If there's a pedigree, any kind of other paperwork, you want to make sure you get all that. A lot of breeders offer a guarantee, a health guarantee or whatever. So you want to discuss this with them. In the event that something happens to your puppy and you've only had it a few days or a few weeks or even a few months, you want to find out, what is this breeder going to do in the event that my puppy dies or whatever, from a disease or something that maybe it had when I picked it up or whatever. You want to make sure you check your options first just so you'll know what to expect. The next thing you want to know about is shots. What kind of shots has this dog had? Has it had any kind of worms, wormings or whatever? Has it been dewormed? Has it been to the vet? Has it had any kind of health exams? Are there any kind of problems, with the puppy that I need to know about? So make sure you get all this information. Most breeders will offer this to you. If they don't, ask them about it, because you definitely want this. And another important thing, you want to see what the litter mates look like. This will give you some idea as to, what you can expect from the puppy as far as, do they all look healthy? Do they look clean? Are they friendly? Are they curious? Are they of a good weight? You also want to see the parents. And if you get a chance, if they have any other dogs that are related, if they have any aunts or uncles or brothers and sisters from previous litters or whatever, you want to see all this, because this will give you a better idea of what you can expect when your dog's an adult. And what should I look for in the individual puppy? First thing you want to look for is you want to look for a dog that's proper weight. You don't want to get a puppy that's big and chunky. And the other thing is you don't want to get a dog that's really, really skinny and the bones are poking out. You want to get one that's appropriate weight and for its size and it looks healthy. The next thing, you want to make sure that it's clean, that it's not all smelly. Its eyes are clean, nose, anus. You want to make sure that it has a good hair coat, that there's no bald spots or anything. You want to make sure it's not scratching and itching and all that. You just want to make sure it's a clean puppy and that it's living in clean surroundings. You want to make sure that the cages are nice and clean and well kept, and this will really let you know a lot about what the healthier kennels will have nice clean places for the dogs to live. The ones that don't will often have sickly or unhealthy puppies, so you want to make sure your puppy comes from as clean a kennel as possible, and that the puppy is a clean, well cared for puppy. You also want a puppy that's been well socialized and that's really playful, one that's curious about you, one that comes up to you, one that's playful, has a good time with its litter mates, running around. You don't want to pick a puppy that's quiet and laying around or shy or hiding or whatever. You just want to make sure that you get the most confident puppy that you can. And then that slides in there twice, so let's skip that. Okay, what else should I be aware of in a new German Shepherd puppy? Well, like any other purebred dog, the German Shepherd suffers from several inheritable diseases. And these are things that you want to discuss with your breeder. Or if you get it from a rescue, find it from a rescue person if they know. Did the mother or the father, or any of the siblings or whatever, did they have any kind of diseases, like have they bloated, or did they have epilepsy, did they have EPI, have any of them had degenerative myelopathy. I mean, there's just a lot of things to think about. Hip dysplasia, elbow dysplasia. So you really want to get this information if you can. OFA certification and past breedings. There's just a lot you want to check into. So just find out as much as you can about the history of the dog, and as you can, and then that'll make it a lot easier on you, just to kind of know what you possibly can expect from your dog in the future. And I can't stress this enough. Socialize, socialize, socialize that dog. Get it out everywhere you can. Take it for rides. Take it to the park. Take it to the grocery store. Take it to Home Depot. Take it to the park. Take it everywhere you can. And don't just leave it in the car. Get it out with you. Get it around other people. Get it in other interesting locations, things that it may not have seen before and probably hasn't. If it's coming from a kennel, it's probably not very socialized to a lot of different things. So you want to get it out and let it meet and see and do as much as possible. Because the more you do, the better off you'll be in the long run. And sorry, that one's in there twice. Okay, here we go. If you'd like to learn more information about the German Shepherd, please visit us at www.total-german-shepherd.net/GSD-report.html, or you can also visit us at www.total-german-shepherd.com. Either place you can find out more information about the dog breed, more information about puppies, training, health, diseases, just a lot of things about the German Shepherd that you may or may not be aware of. And if you're thinking of getting one, the more you know, the better off you'll be. I hope you've enjoyed this information, and thanks a lot.